of? Maybe Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, JFK, Malcolm X, FDR. I'm not quoting them today. Susan B. Anthony made a speech, and I quote, "It was we the people, not we the white male citizen, nor we the male citizen, who formed a union not just to give the blessings of liberty, but to secure them for the whole people, women and men as well." Ruth Ginsburg, an activist, a feminist, said she didn't fight for women's rights. She fought for the constitutional promise that men and women were equal citizens. Sounds simple, right? So why is it that every time a woman asks for equality, she's told she's asking for too much? Too much to ask that when a woman is working the same job as a man, the same hours, she get paid equally? Too much to ask that our government care about a mother's body before a rice-sized fetus. Saying that out loud, I'm confused on whether I'm in the 1900s or 2025, because still today, women can only make 77 cents for every dollar earned by a man. You see, society loves to congratulate itself on progress, but the truth is misogyny isn't gone. It has only changed costumes. Today, misogyny still hides behind humor, tradition, even common sense. I mean, it's the dress codes in our schools. It's the double standard in politics. It's the punchline at our dinner tables. Misogyny isn't shocking anymore. That's the problem. We shrug when a girl is interrupted. We roll our eyes when a woman points out misogyny. We laugh when a woman is sexualized in a commercial because we've been told feminism is outdated. 35% of women say it's polarizing. 45% of women say it's going too far. And 33% of men says it does more harm than good. Too far. Too far compared to what? Too far compared to the centuries where women couldn't vote, couldn't get a basic education, daughters as early as 13 sold dolls for exchanges for debts? Or too far compared to the years where a husband could legally rape his wife? You see, I think we forget what misogyny is. I'll remind you, misogyny is a mindset. That mindset is close to a hatred or a prejudice towards women. I mean, dated back in the 17th century, the synonyms for both the words for misogyny is hatred in women. So while we call our feminists outdated and polarizing, they've done nothing but achieve major legal wins, such as the Equal Pay Act or the Equal Rights Act, momentarily sweeping misogyny from under its feet. Momentarily. Today, I'll highlight the 3 ways misogyny operates on a systematic, deliberate, and dangerous scale, and how together, as a community that values human dignity and equality, we can stand together to create lasting change and actual progress. Because today's abortion laws across the world prove that misogyny isn't gone, it has only become institutionalized. I mean, are we seriously supposed to believe that the government is suddenly pro-life and wants to protect life? The same government that loses children to the foster care system every year. They're not trying to protect life. What they're trying to protect is control over women's bodies. This became true on February 19th of 2025, when a nurse, a mother, Adriana Smith, was declared brain dead at just 9 weeks pregnant due to multiple blood clots in her brain. But because of Georgia's strict heartbeat bill, she was forced to remain on life support, not to save her life, but to sustain a fetus she could no longer carry by choice. Her mother had no say. Her mother, April Newkirk, said it was torture, seeing her daughter breathing through a ventilator while her mind was gone. And for 4 agonizing months, Adriana stayed that way until June of 2025, where her baby named Chance was prematurely C-sectioned at just 1 pound and 3 ounces. The average baby is supposed to weigh 7 pounds. You see, when you hear stories like this, they're not about morality. These laws aren't about protecting families. They're about preserving a hierarchy, and that's the hierarchy of misogyny, where women's voices are secondary to ideologies. Her mother's voice should have mattered. She should have had a say in what happens to her daughter's body, but because of that bill, her consent and Adriana's bodily autonomy was automatically overridden. Speaking up isn't hostility, it's protection for women, for children, for everyone born into a system that teaches them silence is a virtue. Because even across the world, in India, Banwari Devi endured hell to speak up for children. You see, Banwari Devi was a social worker working with the Afghanistan government campaigning against child marriage. In 1992, on a particular case, she tried to prevent the child marriage of a 1-year-old girl. But in a retaliatory attack, the father and uncle of the 1-year-old girl brutally gang raped Banwari Devi while beating her husband. The police response was slow and rife with bias. The judge's verdict rules that it was impossible that men of upper caste, meaning upper class status, would rape a lower class girl due to purity beliefs, and that no husband would stand by while his wife was assaulted. That is the verdict they delivered while the evidence sat in their faces. That verdict sparked national outrage. And because of that, Banwari's story isn't in vain. In 1997, the eventual passage of the Women's Harassment in the Workplace Act was passed in 2013. Speaking up mattered then, and it matters now. Her voice mattered then, and it matters now. Because every time a woman speaks up against dehumanizing laws or sexist traditions, she forces society to confront the long-accepted myth that a woman's body is not public property. Her freedom and consent are not negotiable. By naming misogyny for what it is, a systematic, deliberate, and dangerous poison, we begin to dismantle the structure that oppresses future generations. By allowing these attitudes to continue as normal is an insult to all the women and men who fought so hard for change. I speak out because this matters to me. As a person, as a woman, as a feminist, seeing these stories firsthand and hearing it from the women in my family, my friends, it's radicalizing. A hopeless feeling of anger and fear. But that is only a feeling, and I'm here to spark hope. The world must hear us loudly and clearly. Only together we know we can force real change. We've done it before, and we can do it again. In October of 2012, Julia Gilliard rose in Australia's parliament and declared, "I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. Not now, not ever." To her man in opposition, who repeatedly used misogynistic tendencies against her, she revealed the moments that revealed the rot beneath the surface. She said, "I was offended when he stood outside of Parliament in front of a sign that said, 'Ditch the witch.' I was offended when he stood next to a sign that described me as a man's bitch." I was offended by those things. She didn't just offend herself. She lit a beacon for millions of women worldwide. She held up a mirror to power and refused to accept the message that women's voices are optional.
Bus 1 just arrived, so the students will go to the cafeteria and eat breakfast and then head to your classroom. They will not have passes.
Teaches that your voice is our answer. Because yes, when we think of people like Julia Gilliard, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, JFK, FDR, Ruth Ginsburg, they all teach one unforgettable truth, that your voice is our answer. Your conviction, your making a stand is our answer, no matter how small you feel, how little you are, where you're from, who you are. Your voice can shift the narrative.